so in love with you.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and the lies that new home builders are telling right now are absolutely exploding. And as we see more and more buying incentives, price cuts, and things of that nature come back into the new build sector, it's really super important to understand that in order for us to understand whether or not a price cut is a good deal, we first have to understand and get data from what houses were selling for over the past year or 2 years. The reason why that's important is new home builders play a lot of games when it comes to selling you a house. And so today I'm going to show you, and we're going to investigate 3 different new build communities around my local housing market here in Houston. And out of those 3 new home builders, one of those communities is actually liquidating houses under market value. The other 2 are just all over the place. So I want you to understand which of the 3 new home building communities is actually in distress. And again, don't be victim to their games. When you go in to purchase new construction, if you do, make sure you have ammunition with you and you're not flying blind, because many of these sales aren't really what they seem. But remember, I'm not a financial advisor, even though my bio is as a realtor, loan officer, and instructor in real estate here in the great state of Texas. But I'm also a frustrated renter, really nervous father because I see what's happening in society, very protective husband, absolutely love my wife and my family. And for all of this effort, y'all, please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, shoot me a comment below. But either way, let's get started right now. First, let me show you what 3 new building communities we're going to go over today. So the first new home building community is right here. This is the Highlands. I've done a couple reports on this. So this is community number 1. And really, this is what motivated me to do this video, because we've been seeing price cuts in that community of the Highlands of over $100,000. So community number 1 is the Highlands. Now, community number 2 is up here on the upper right. This is going to be community number 2 that we review. This is Tovola. They also are showing massive price cuts. So that's community number 2. Community number 3 is going to be down here. So this is going to be community number 3. This is Kingsmill. So again, one of these 3 communities is under distress. Let's start with some of the active listings in these communities that show price cuts. So again, starting with community 1, you can see this is the Highlands. This is a hefty price cut of a whopping $80,000, over 15% price cut. But is that a real price cut? We don't know that yet because we don't have ammunition. Here's a second active MLS. You can see here, this is in the Highlands. This is another massive price cut of about $55,000. Moving forward into Tovola, again, active listing. This is a massive price cut of over $70,000 in Tovola right now. Is it a true price cut? Here's a second listing, again, in Tovola. This is an active listing. This is another $70,000 price cut. But again, is it even a good deal? Now, I left out community number 3 because community number 3 reset all of their listings and show 0 price cuts. So we have 2 communities showing massive price cuts, and we have our third community showing no price cuts. But what does all that mean? Now, again, in order to not fly in the dark, in order to expose the lies, in order to not become a victim and understand what these new home builders are doing, we need to use the data. So I'm going to show you guys the market analysis for each of those individual communities for 2022. So I'm going to show you the average sales price and average price per square foot in 2022. Remember the price per square foot. Starting with community number 1, the Highlands, as you can see here, these are for all sold properties. This was for the entire year of 2022. We had a total of 137 homes sold in the Highlands community for an average, and remember this, for an average price per square foot of $183.71. Average sales price $433,000, average square footage 2358. But remember, $183.71 for community number 1. So here's our market analysis for Tovola. This was for sold properties for the entire year of 2022. Tovola actually had 381 properties sold in 2022. The average price per square foot in community number 2, Tovola, is $149.34. Very important to remember that. $149.34. Average sales price $330, average square footage 2,237. Market analysis for community number 3, Kings Mill. You can see Kings Mill, all sold property for the entire range of 2022. This is a market analysis. Total sold properties are 71 in 2022. So 71 properties sold in 2022 in Kings Mill for an average price per square foot of $143.67. Average sales price $375,000. Average square footage 2667. So now that we've equipped ourselves, let's go in and see what lies these new home builders are saying when it pertains to actual price cuts. Because remember, now I know, and so do you, what the average home was selling for in 2022. So we're equipped. Now we have the power to see what's really going on. So we'll start at community number 1, Highlands. Now I've accessed my local MLS. This is all real-time live data, and how I've set up my searches. Obviously, I'm looking for all active listings in the Highlands subdivision and only want to see listings with price decreases. So let's look at the results. There's a total of 16 homes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rapidly go through the list of active listings, and I want y'all to pay attention to this over here, okay? So I'm going to move my picture so we can rapid fire, but I want you to pay attention to the price cut and the price per square foot. And remember, the price per square foot average in the Highlands for 2022 was $183.71. So here's our first price cut. This is a price cut of $6,000. Is this a good deal, y'all? Is this a true price cut? It's not. Look, it's well over the $183 average. In fact, it's price cut down to being overvalued. That's a fake price cut. Let's go to the next. Here's another price cut of $11,000. Look at the price per square foot, $191. That's a fake price cut to entice you to buy. Here's another price cut at $189. Again, fake price cut. All of the price cuts are only price cutting down to elevated sales prices. Let's keep going. Here's a $25,000 price cut. Again, $197 a square foot. What this means is it's not a real price cut. Now here's the $80,000 price cut. This is the massive $80,000 price cut. And look, it's still over the 2022 averages of $183 a square foot. So even though these people cut $80,000, it's still over 2022 values. And this is why we need to be equipped. Are you starting to understand what I'm trying to show you? It's all a game. Without the data, we can fall victim to these games and they can take advantage of our emotions, which again is why we need to have the data lead us. So those $80,000 price cuts, complete nonsense. So let's see how many homes they actually do have that are under 2022 value. So going back to the list, I've included all of the active listings, not just the ones with price cuts. And let's see how many homes that they have for sale under $183. So this is really, really fascinating. In just one day, they've actually added multiple houses. When I reviewed this video last night, they only had 2. They have 10 properties that are actually under 2022 values. And what's really interesting to note is the cheapest property actually has a price increase. Do you see that? They're playing games. Look at these other cheap properties right here. Price increases. So in other words, community 1 is completely backwards, although in just one day, there's an additional 8 properties that are now being listed under 2022 value. So whatever's happening is happening rather quickly. Let's move on to community number 2. Back to the MLS, you can see I've selected active listings in the subdivision of community number 2, Tavola, and I only want to see the listings with price decreases, and we have way more listings with price decreases in Tavola for a total of 47 homes with current price cuts. So now let's take a look at these listings and see if any of these price cuts are real. And remember that the price per square foot average in Tavola for 2022 was $149.34. Again, $149.34. And again, y'all, look right under me. We're going to be looking at the price cut and price per square foot. So here's the first price cut of about $25,000. Look at the price per square foot. I want you guys to tell me, is this a real price cut? Yes. This is an actual real price cut. This price cut is going to kill anyone that purchased, or most people that purchased in 2022, because this is considerably under 2022 averages. This is only $112 a square foot. Do y'all see the massive difference? Do y'all starting to see why we need the data? Let's keep going. Here's another price cut. Look at $118 a square foot. That's a real liquidation price cut. Another price cut of $25,000, bringing the price per square foot all the way down to $120 a square foot. Amazing. Here's an over $70,000 price cut right now in the subdivision of Tavola. New price per square foot is $127. So in other words, what you all are witnessing right here are actually massive, massive real price cuts, because these price cuts are taking the sales prices under 2022 average value. So far, what do we know about community number two? Community number two has realistic price cuts. Going back to Tavola's property list, we could see they actually have a total of 20 houses. So right now, Tavola has 20 houses that are being listed for under 2022 values. Y'all, that is a tremendous amount of inventory. And again, all of the recent owners in 2022, they're going to get burned and get burned bad. Now let's go into community number three, Kingsmill. And I'm going to show you basically what they're doing and the complete circus show that's going on. Back to MLS, y'all can start to see why I keep telling people, get your license so you can do this in your own local housing market. I mean, how beneficial would this program be for you? But anyways, going back to this, now all the active listings in the subdivision of Kingsmill, I have not selected price decreases because there aren't none. So maybe this community is doing really well. Either way, let's see. So we know in Kingsmill that homes sold for an average of $143 a square foot back in 2022. I want to show you guys a few more things that we haven't yet talked about. Now, looking under my picture, you can see that there is no price cut, and this was listed for $189.23, which is way more than the average price per square foot in 2022 of $143.67. So this is way out of line. And this shows only 3 days on the market. But what's really interesting to point out is it's actually been on the market a heck of a lot longer. They just keep messing up with their sales prices. Now here's another new home build, as y'all can see here. And again, a whopping $182 a square foot. So again, it's showing us that this new home builder is delusional. And again, they reset their listing. This has only been on the market for 3 days, but they hid their last listing, and this home has actually been on the market for almost a year. They just don't want you to see that. Here's another listing, as you can see. Now, this is more reasonable at $153 a square foot, but it's still out of line. And again, look at it. It looks like it's been on the market for 3 days. The reality is it's been on the market for a half a year. So here's the listing history for one of the properties. You can see that this property was listed for $450 April 4th, but the reality is this home has been trying to be sold since June of 2022. The original listing and asking price was $495. So they're down $45,000 from when they originally listed this. And this was at the peak. This tells us that even at the peak, they couldn't sell this house because they listed it for too much. So this builder's all over the place. Now look at this. It's also important to note that it was listed in December for $440. So now the builder can say, oh, we're raising our prices $10,000 because our demand has picked up. When the reality is the demand hasn't picked up, they can't sell the house and they're tricking you. They can say it's went up because it has gone up. But the thing is if we compare where they're at in the beginning, it's gone down $40,000. They can't sell their houses. They're listing them for too much. So when we come back to the Kingsmill property list, we can see that they have 2 houses that are actually under 2022 values. Again, this is why you need the data, because we can pinpoint exactly what's under market value, but only 2 properties. So going back to the map, what we learned is community number 1, which is the Highlands, all right? So what we learned about community number 1 is they're playing many sales tricks. However, they're starting to show signs of distress because they're listing over 8 properties that are actually selling for under 2022 averages. And again, that's going to wreck any of the recent owners that purchased above that price, but still, it's just cracking. We can see that they still have an overwhelming amount of inventory that they are trying to sell for above 2022 values. And they have a tremendous amount of sales tricks that want you to believe that they're cutting prices much more than they actually are. So community number 1, very dangerous, showing signs of falling apart. Now, community number 2, Tavola, we're seeing signs of liquidation price cuts. Most of the price cuts in Tavola are greatly dropping the value under 2022 values. So of the three communities, clearly community number 2, Tavola, is in immense distress according to their sales price drops. And I'm going to tell you this, of the three communities, community number 2, Tavola, that's where we're going to see the most amount of foreclosures, because as of right now, that has the most amount of homeowners who are trapped. But again, community number 2, we can tell that those price cuts are massive. Looking at community number 3, Kingsmill. Now this community is, in my opinion, they don't know what's going on. They can't sell so many of their houses. Their price cuts are up and down and left and right. And overall, community number 3, it's not really showing any signs of distress per se. They only have 2 properties listed under 2022 values. But from watching that community, I can tell you that new home builder simply keeps pricing themselves out of the market. I mean, it's so clear that they need to go down on the prices. So I'm going to say community number 3, they're completely delusional. Of the 3 communities, it is showing the least amount of distress. In conclusion, what I'd like to say is data is almost everything. And without it, when we go to find houses, we are flying blind. Let's take the emotion out of home purchasing and let's allow the data to help us find the home of our dreams. And also be careful with these new home builders. I'm not even joking, y'all. It is bad. I hope you guys are seeing that in my channel. It's bad, bad. Now, other than that, if you're out there investing in real estate, you know I wish you luck and I hope you win.